Hello, and welcome to the June 2026 edition of Florida by the Numbers. I'm Sheridan Morby, Director of Economic Research for the Florida Chamber Foundation. It is officially summer, and Florida's economy continues to evolve every day. So let's dive right in. As always, the Florida Scorecard is tracking Florida's economy in real time, bringing together all the data points I'll be highlighting today, along with hundreds more at both the state and county levels. The data is updated as soon as it's released, so you can get everything you need to know in one place at thefloridascorecard.org. Florida added jobs on a year-over-year basis in May 2026, marking the second consecutive month of job growth following several months of losses earlier this year and in late 2025. Florida gained 11,000 jobs, an increase of 0.1%. The nation saw a slightly higher increase during that same period. Florida's unemployment rate held steady at 4.8% compared to 4.3% nationally. The consistent driver of Florida's unemployment rate is younger professionals who are entering the labor market but struggling to find employment. As the unemployment rate remains elevated in Florida, while higher education is nationally ranked and open jobs are increasing, it highlights the value of the talent pipeline. Ensuring that today's learners have the skills needed for tomorrow's earners requires digging into the data about what skills employers need the most. Did you know that all 30 high-demand careers in Florida's 21 workforce regions through 2033 require some math proficiency? With this in mind, we created our latest interactive tool, the Florida Top 30 High-Demand Careers Math Skills Edition, which highlights what math skills employers are seeking most across Florida. Scan the QR code and have a look for yourself on our Foundation's research page, where you can discover the 82 math skills Florida's employers are seeking today and are projected to need through 2033. The financial freedom and self-sufficiency of Floridians are a key part of the economy. United Way has released new ALICE figures, which stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, Employed. It is a measure of households that are above the federal poverty level but are unable to afford basic needs. The federal poverty level changes very little each year and is the same across most states in the U.S., which doesn't account for cost of living differences. By contrast, the ALICE threshold reflects the actual day-to-day costs households face. According to the United Way's recently released report, the ALICE household survival budget for a family of 4 with 2 children in childcare was over $91,000. This is compared to the federal poverty level, which is just above $31,000. By these thresholds, 12% of Florida's households are in poverty, but an additional 34% are below the ALICE threshold. You can see what this number is for your county on the floridascorecard.org or for your zip code on the Florida Gap Map. Inflation is continuing to rise at the national level. The inflation rate is now 4.2%, which means that Florida's prices are 4.2% higher than they were a year ago. This is a 0.4 percentage point increase in the inflation rate from April. Increases in energy prices, which are now 23.5% higher than they were a year ago, were the main driver. While core inflation is a better indicator of overall sustained price levels, as it excludes volatile prices like gas and food, energy prices have a big and quick impact on consumer spending power, business costs, and more. The Federal Reserve primarily considers the core inflation rate when making decisions about interest rates. But on a day-to-day basis, high energy prices are something consumers pay close attention to. The average Floridian isn't considering core inflation. They're seeing the very real impact of higher gas prices on their discretionary spending. We are going to continue to monitor consumer spending and other economic indicators that can be impacted by consumer perception and sentiment. However, speaking of the Fed, it did hold steady on interest rates earlier this week and signaled the possibility of an increase by the end of the year. At the beginning of the year, many economists, including me, saw the writing on the wall for interest rate cuts, but the story seems to be changing. Definitely something to continue to watch. Now let's shift to housing. Florida's housing market has now seen year-over-year increases in single-family home sales for 9 consecutive months. While headlines and uncertainty in the economy have framed the housing market as potentially in trouble, increasing sales are showing strength. However, the increase in May was smaller than in previous months, and new pending sales saw only a small increase. This could mean that a drop in sales is to come in June data. The direction of the housing market will be greatly influenced by mortgage rates and energy prices. As other economic forces move, these will play into the supply and demand for single-family homes. We'll continue monitoring these trends and report back next month. The Florida Scorecard and our team's accompanying research and analyses on these metrics are made possible by the Florida Chamber Foundation's community development partners, companies that have a statewide footprint committed to fueling the research and solutions for Florida's long-term economic success. If you have an interest in joining these companies, you can contact me through the information on the screen. To stay up to date as soon as Florida's latest metrics are released, we have a couple of resources to keep you in the know until the next Florida by the Numbers video update. In addition to regularly checking the Florida Scorecard, be sure to follow @FloridaBTN, which stands for By the Numbers, on X, where these and other updated figures are posted regularly. If you have any questions regarding the topics covered today, or if you would like to get involved in the Florida Chamber Foundation's work to secure Florida's future, please reach out to me through the information on the screen. Thank you for watching this month's Florida by the Numbers. We'll be back in July with new employment statistics and more updates on Florida's economic landscape.